Hey everyone, welcome back to the BCBA 6th edition task list study guide. Today we're jumping into section B, Concepts and Principles. In this video, we'll walk through task list items B1 to B5, from defining behavior and responses all the way to schedules of reinforcement. So, if you're reviewing for the exam or just brushing up on your ABA foundations, you're in exactly the right place. Grab your notes or just listen along. Let's get started. Before we dive in, a quick reminder, if you want to practice these topics the same way they'll appear on the exam, head over to bcbamockexam.com. We've got full mock sets, flashcards, and analytics created by certified BCBAs. All right, let's get into the good stuff. First up, what do we actually mean by behavior? Think of behavior as anything a living organism does that you can observe or measure. If you can see it, hear it, or count it, that's behavior. A response is just one instance of that behavior. And a response class? That's a group of different behaviors that all lead to the same outcome. Picture this, you're folding laundry. The overall act of folding clothes is the behavior. Folding one shirt is a single response. Folding shirts, pants, towels, all to get a clean pile, that's a response class because every version leads to the same result. Different forms, same function. Here's an exam tip, always think functionally. The quick way to remember this is the dead man test. If a dead man could do it, it's not behavior. So lying still or doing nothing doesn't count. Behavior means action. And for the test, they'll often sneak in private events like thinking. Those are behaviors under Skinner's radical view, but they're private, not observable. A stimulus is anything you could detect with your senses, a sight, a sound, a smell, a texture, a taste. It's basically the environment saying, hey, I'm here, and your behavior responding to it. Stimuli can be grouped three ways. Formal class, they look or sound alike. Functional class, they have the same effect on behavior. Temporal class, they occur in the same time relation to a behavior, like before or after. So, red light, red shirt, red ball, formal class. Different songs that make you dance, functional. Events that happen after you respond, temporal. Let's make it real. Bright light makes you squint. Your phone buzzes and you check it. Different stimuli, but both change what you do in the moment. That's how behavior and environment connect. They're always in a conversation. Now let's talk about one of the most important foundations of learning and behavior analysis, respondent and operant conditioning. These two processes look similar on the surface, but work very differently. Let's start with respondent conditioning. This is your stimulus-stimulus pairing, also called classical conditioning. It's automatic. A neutral stimulus, like a bell, is paired with an unconditioned stimulus, like food, that naturally triggers a response, salivation, blinking, heart rate changes. Over time, that neutral stimulus alone starts to elicit the same reflexive response. So if you hear the bell and start salivating even without food, that's respondent conditioning. It's all about physiological, involuntary reactions, things your body does automatically. Now move your eyes to the right. Operant conditioning works in the opposite direction. Here, it's response-stimulus pairing. What happens after the behavior that changes whether it happens again? We call that the three-term contingency, antecedent behavior consequence. If a consequence strengthens the behavior, it's reinforcement. If it weakens it, it's punishment. Think of examples like, you finish a report and get praise, or you do the dishes to avoid nagging. Your behavior is influenced by its consequences, not by what came before automatically. The key difference? Respondent conditioning elicits reflexes. It happens to you. Operant conditioning emits behavior. It happens because of what you do. One is automatic. The other is voluntary and consequence-driven. Here's a quick exam tip. If you see SS pairing and words like salivation or blinking, it's respondent. If you see reinforcement, punishment, or escape, that's operant. A student gets praise for completing a worksheet and starts finishing more, operant. Your heart races when you hear thunder after lightning, respondent. A quick memory hack, respondent equals reflex, operant equals choice. And if the question mentions pairing two stimuli, that's respondent. If it mentions a behavior followed by a consequence, that's operant. On the exam, they love to mix these up. So look for words like automatic versus voluntary. And remember, respondent behavior is elicited, operant behavior is emitted. Easy rhyme, big points. Alright, here's where students often trip up. Reinforcement always means the behavior increases. Positive reinforcement adds something pleasant after a behavior. Negative reinforcement removes something unpleasant. Both increase the chance the behavior will happen again. A learner finishes homework and gets extra playtime, positive reinforcement. A student asks for a break and the task is removed, negative reinforcement. Here's the trick: positive and negative don't mean good or bad, they mean add or remove. When I first studied this, I kept thinking negative reinforcement means punishment. Nope. Different thing entirely. If the behavior goes up, it's reinforcement. If it goes down, that's punishment. Data always tells the story. Now that we know what reinforcement is, let's talk about when it happens. That's what a schedule of reinforcement is, the rule for how often you deliver reinforcement. Two main types: continuous and intermittent. Continuous equals every time. Intermittent equals sometimes. CRF is perfect for teaching new skills. Every correct response gets reinforced. It's clear, predictable, and helps learners understand exactly what works. Think of it as training wheels. You use it to get started, then fade to intermittent later for maintenance. Now we're looking at partial reinforcement schedules. We're not reinforcing every single correct behavior anymore, we're reinforcing some of them. And that's what makes behaviors more durable and resistant to extinction. Let's go through the four main types, one by one. First, fixed ratio, FR. Here, reinforcement comes after a set number of responses. For example, FR5 means the learner gets reinforcement every fifth correct response, no more, no less. Think of a factory worker paid for every 5 products made. This schedule produces a high rate of responding, with a quick pause right after each reinforcer. We call that a post-reinforcement pause. It's like taking a small breather after completing a chunk of work. Next, variable ratio, VR. Now the rule is similar. Reinforcement depends on the number of responses, but the number changes each time. Sometimes it's after 3, sometimes after 7, averaging to maybe 5. This unpredictability creates the strongest, most consistent responding of all schedules. It's the reason people keep playing slot machines. They never know exactly when the win will come, but they know it could come next. That uncertainty keeps behavior steady and persistent. Now, fixed interval, FI. This one is based on time, not responses. Reinforcement becomes available after a fixed amount of time, say, every 30 seconds. The first correct response after that time is reinforced. If you've ever noticed that classic scalloped pattern, slow responding right after reinforcement, then faster and faster as the next interval nears, that's FI. It's like checking the clock before a scheduled break. Finally, variable interval VI. This is reinforcement after variable amounts of time, but still the first correct response after that interval. So, sometimes it's 20 seconds, sometimes 40, sometimes 60, it averages out. This schedule produces a steady, moderate rate of behavior because the person never quite knows when reinforcement will be available. Think of checking your email. You don't check once and quit. You check occasionally because messages arrive unpredictably. Here's a visual memory hack. VR equals very rapid responses, highest rate and most resistant to extinction. FI equals fluctuating intervals, that scalloped curve you'll see on the exam. Don't just memorize the definitions, picture the response patterns. That's how you ace those graph questions. Here's the bottom line I want you to remember. Ratio based on number of responses. Interval based on time. Fixed equals predictable. Variable equals unpredictable. So FR and VR are about how much you do, while FI and VI are about how long you wait. And for the exam, if the question says steady, high rate, that's your clue for VR. If it says scallop pattern, that's FI. Let's wrap this up. In B1 through B5 we covered how behavior and responses work, what stimuli are, how we learn through respondent and operant conditioning, how reinforcement increases behavior, and how different schedules maintain it over time. If this helped you understand the concepts a little deeper, make sure to subscribe so you catch the next video. We'll dive into B6 through B10 and talk about punishment contingencies. And if you want to test yourself right now, you can take a free mock exam or get full ink sets at bcbamockexam.com, all built by certified BCBAs, so you know they're the real deal. See you in the next section.